Welcome to this short presentation video for Controlware, apps to put you in control with your Dynamics Business Central environment. What we solve with our solutions are basically three challenges. To start with is the chaotic write structure. Well, of course, you think about write structure, you don't want this chaos. However, over time, we see that with more and more customers, things change, people change roles, new people come into the company, and therefore it becomes more and more scattered and less like the desired situation where you would have your organization chart and your roles and your permissions, etc., set up in line with that organization chart. So that's what we want to achieve there. So when your accountant or your IT auditor asks you who can change vendor bank accounts or who can make payments, and especially is that one person that can do both, because then you have a breach in segregation of duties. It's difficult to sort that in standard Business Central. So therefore we have a solution where you can report on this and we can show people that you're in control and that you have this all managed. Well, what we use here is our authorization box. The authorization box consists basically of two parts. It's the blue boxes you see on the screen here. First of all, the management part. What you do there is you draw your organization chart and define roles within the departments that you have there. You take the permission sets from Business Central and you assign those to the roles. Next up, you assign those to the users, so then you end up with users with permission sets, but all through their whole organization chart, the way you would like that. This is also possible to do this for a multi-company setup where you push this down to companies or where you have different organization charts per company. All that's possible. Once you have that set, every change will be done through an authorization request where you can also have a workflow for approval and everything. And also this creates an audit trail. So if ever you get questions, you can show why something happened in a certain way and who approved this. Next, so the flip side of that is the monitoring. So being able to report on critical tasks, critical permissions, but also a combination of those with your segregation of duties, and to always be in the know on who can do what in your system. Additionally, we also have some additional modules for user templating and to get reporting on monitoring, but that's if you want to know more about that, let us know. We'll show you. Next thing you want to do is you want to be able to refine permissions. So that means that if you look at your setup in Business Central, for example, the item card, you would want to say marketing can change these fields, purchase can change these fields. And for both, I would like to check that certain fields are entered in compliance with our business rules. So you need some tooling for that because standard BC doesn't offer that. And what we have there is basically three modules. First of all, our permissions recorder that makes it easier for you to record permissions and to make really specific permission sets for a certain role or task. And then what is a permission set? A permission set is basically the way that Microsoft grants access to objects. And then objects will be an item card, a customer order, a sales header, etc., etc. So, but if you have access to those objects, you have access to everything there, where you would want to refine those. You want to be able to say, well, on the item card, you are allowed to change most of the fields, however, not the fields regarding the vendor. Or the other way around, you should not be allowed to change anything, just see the data. However, this one particular field, I would like to grant to you. So all that is our field security. We also have options there to make filtering. So that means that you can take certain records out. The salesperson that can only put in orders against their own customers, or that can only see a certain assortment. Or if you're in fashion, you can only see the active collections when you look for orders. Things like that you can use the filter security for. And then last but not least, we have an app called Field Validation. And if you look at that app, what it does, it makes fields mandatory. You can use regular expressions, for example, to determine if an email address is actually an email address, if a bank account number matches the criteria you have for that. And all those checks you can do both on save, but also triggered on other changes in a certain record. So that's quite an advanced function there. So this is basically our software suite. Of course, you need Microsoft Dynamics Authorization Box to manage and monitor your authorizations setup, permissions recorder to record the permissions in Business Central, and then the field security, field validation to refine the permissions in Business Central. Why do we do this then? For the IT management side, we create more efficiency, more levels to put in security, but without customizing your system. So it's a standard app that works with every update, no worries there. And all in all, that creates a happier internal customer. And on the control side of the business, you can rely more on the information in the system, and you can always report on segregation of duties, which can be quite important, especially when accountants come into play. We've been doing this now for more than 700 customers in over 40 countries, and we've been around for 18 years. So we know a little bit of what we're talking about. And then last but not least, if you seek more information on the technical side, you can look up our wiki pages. And if you'd like to know more about our company, check our website. There's a lot of information there. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.